Hey YouTube, this is Lurid Sorcerer. The FedEx guy just literally dropped this. I mean literally dropped it on our front door. So you know what time it is. It's time to build a new PC. Alright, so here's what we got lined up. We got a Ryzen 5. Really excited to finally have a computer not from 6 years ago. Pairing that up with a gaming motherboard from Gigabyte. Supports some RGB features that I'm not that interested in, but I'll take it. Nice beefy power supply, my RAM, good things compatible with Ryzen. Yeah, I'm one of those suckers that buys Windows. And I'm going to be installing that on my nice new NVMe hard drive, my first NVMe solid state drive. It's insane to me that you can pack 500 gigabytes on something the size of the stick I've got. Holy crap. And of course, we need a case to put all this crap in. So, if you remember my previous video at the surplus store, I went back and picked up this. You just could not resist. It is perfect for any Windows Vista gaming computer. It's definitely a less modern design than you'll see typically. Got the front door. I mean, this is like if you were dropping $2,000 on a Windows XP gaming machine, this is the kind of case you put it in. It's got a fan. I don't think it has an LED in it. It includes a power supply. I'm not using that. I think it's 250 watt. It's not gonna hold up. So I'm gonna be throwing all this stuff in here and then repurposing my RX 480 graphics card and 4 terabyte storage drive from my old PC. So let's get to it. So we'll start with the motherboard here. This is a whatever this says model motherboard. Thanks for this, by the way. Nice job on that. Build plate. Can't wait to find out what that's for. Gigabyte G connector. Pretty feature-rich board. Dual channel memory. I think it goes up to 64 gigs. I'm only going to put 16 in for now. I'll probably put some later. Next up, we got our Ryzen 5 processor. Ryzen 5 2600. There were some more expensive models that, frankly, they sucked up more power, so I wasn't that interested in. I'll be able to put this badge on the front of the case, extremely crooked, as usual. Of course, the cooler requires its own box inside the box. We'll lift up the arm. And it should drop right in, just like that. And we're done. PC's done. Our provided heatsink and fan unit is not going to be compatible with whatever this is doing here, so I'm going to take this out. There is already a thin layer of thermal goop on here, so I'm just going to leave that. And what I really hate about these things is when all is said and done, this is going to be like this. And I guess I could take this fan and like spin it. Whatever, I don't care. There we go. Now it's perfect. Let's throw some memory in here. A badge for G-Skill. I don't think there was a lot of brand loyalty to that kind of thing. These red sockets are socket 1 and 2. Which is very convenient because the AMD logo is overhanging the other one, that black one. I'm sure I could take that off and rotate it so it'll be upright when the system is done, but I don't have time in my life to worry about that kind of thing. And if your college professor asks you how you're supposed to plug in your RAM, always say plug in both sides at the same time. Don't do it in practice, but always say that. There we go. Let's get some storage. I've never installed an NVMe drive before, so this will be interesting. Right here. Alright, so our motherboard box test bench has a little bit of an issue here in that it doesn't have like a thing to hold up a graphics card, and the Ryzen does not have one discrete graphics in it. So Callie is going to help me install one of my old cards just to test it out. So we will need that, and then also a power supply, and then we'll plug it in, see if it boots. So this EVGA power supply is modular. This is a bonus snack. Standard cable ties, that's very nice. Always appreciated. And then it comes with all the cables separately so that you can decide which ones you'd like to use and leave off your floppy connector you're not going to plug in. And the PSU itself, for some reason, comes in a nice fabric bag. Velcro. And see, you just plug in the cables that you need. You don't have a whole mess of spaghetti inside of your computer unnecessarily, although mine is probably going to look like that anyway. So we got power supply hooked up, we got the motherboard power, we got CPU power, the graphics card doesn't require anything extra, nor does the NVMe SSD. So this should be enough to at least boot it up and make sure nothing catches on fire. And if it does, this video is going to get a lot of views. I cannot believe how many connectors for LED lights are on this thing. It is bananas. It scared the shit out. Hey, there we go. That took a little while. Yeah, let's out of curiosity plug in something bootable and see if it boots it up. Alright. See what happens here. First of all, I want to point out this sweet red light on the side of this motherboard. If I can change it to like a blue or something, it'll match with the case a little better. I'll definitely do that. Oh hey, there we go. There's the Windows installation media I made earlier. Looks like it'll boot up. So this is ready to go into the case. Alright, so here it is. Hopefully everything fits in here right. I didn't bother to do any fitting or sizing or anything. But it's all standard, right? I'm sure it's fine. This is not even slightly adhesive anymore. Oh my god. Some of the metal in here is a little wrinkled. I assumed this had been unopened. Now I'm not sure because this looks a little beat up over here. It's in good condition, like I'm not mad. And it was pretty cheap. I'll get this out of here too. And I think this was 250 watts and that's just not going to hold up. The date on this power supply is December 2005, it looks like. So yeah, this is an old case. It's like right up when I started really getting serious into computers, and I'm old, so to me it's a little bit nostalgic in how it's kind of gaudy. Like this kind of stuff you'd see like now really tastefully done. This was just like totally showing off. You didn't care. Color, the super bright color. They didn't really have the LED thing going yet, but they definitely like the windowed case on the side is definitely new. They were just starting to do that. Yeah, this must be new because this I/O panel has not been touched yet. I'm gonna have to break that out. I hate it when they do this. And if I can do this without stabbing myself, I'd be impressed. It's kind of hypocritical though, because I'm talking about how much I love the old style in this case, and then I'm bitching and moaning about the old way of designing these things and how bad it sucked. Oh god, that's so terrible. Oh, that's awful. If I can just round this off, I'll be happy with it. There we go. Safe as houses, which sometimes catch on fire. Whatever. One thing that's going to be inconvenient is the front USB ports, which I assume it has without looking. Yeah, there's a couple. These are probably going to be USB 2 at best, and I'm not counting on that. Let's get this back I/O plate snapped in place. Just now noticing one of these rivets is coming out of the case. Has not held up as well as I initially thought. Really, this is the hardest part. Aside from all the other difficult parts. Alright, so what you don't want to do is put your motherboard directly in here. You do want to put in the standoffs. because all the conductive solder pieces on the back of the motherboard will just short out against the back of the bottom of the case. So I'll have to line up the board with the case. Anywhere you can put in a screw, we'll get one of these brass standoffs. A screw will go through the motherboard into the standoff. If I had a wish for this case, I would want a standoff here and up here. Other than that, I think we're good. Just those two are a little short. And ironically, we have these taller ones, but they are going to not fit. So we're going to be short because they are too tall. Alright, so I got some of the standoffs in there. Let's stick the motherboard in, line it up with the back plate here. Get the screw holes lined up and then stick in the screws. Opposite corners pinned down. Now I honestly do wonder what brand this case is. I don't think it has any kind of documentation at all. I think that's gonna have to do it. We're missing a couple screws that I would really prefer to have in, but this will just have to do. And it's not making contact with the casing, so we won't have to worry about shorts or anything. So now we can get the power supply in there. The thing I really hate about those back panel covers is you can very easily bend your case up a little bit, and then it's hard to get things to fit. You know, like for your I/O cover, for instance. You might have bent the case around the power supply a little bit, but it's still gonna fit. It's gonna be fine. Okay, these screws don't want to go all the way in on this power supply, so I'm actually gonna use the ones that came with the power supply. I'm assuming those are gonna fit better. I think these are exactly the same, but they're black, so that's cool. How are they worse? I don't know why these screw holes for the power supply don't line up. The top two are fine. This is what happens when you use a janky, how old is this case? Like 14-year-old case? I mean, so I guess again, we're just gonna have to rock out with two screws out, which is fine, I suppose. This kind of looks unprofessional to just not have it look like you finished the job. If it just doesn't fit together, I mean, I'm not gonna take it out in the backyard and hammer it to make it fit, although maybe one day that'll be an option. I'll go with CPU power and motherboard power. It's in there. See, perfect cable management, perfect airflow for the processor right here. Alright, that's like 10% better. Alright, so I got this nice new Blu-ray drive. And I've had a lot of cases over the years that the front panel was held on with plastic clips. This is the first time I've seen it held on with actual screws. Not sure if it's better or worse. So much paint is falling off. See all the yellow on there? All right, out of that screw hole. Yeah, this case is definitely bent on this side. No cables will be hanging off the front. There we go. Didn't even ruin it. That's cool. I like this dull beige this case used to be before they spray painted it. I would have been okay with this color too, because I'm lame like that, but the yellow I had to get. So after a little bit of brute force, I got all 4 of the screws in the power supply so it's not just flapping in the breeze anymore. And took out one of the panels out front here, so now you open up this ancient case and find a Blu-ray drive, which is interesting. I'm back here, you can see all the cable management holes that I am not using. Things are pretty messy on the other side here. There's a big concentration of cables up in this top area. So now we're going to plug in all these little cables for the front buttons and whatnot. Throw the graphics card in here and the mass storage drive, and it should be just about done. Definitely one of the least satisfying parts of a build is plugging in all those tiny connectors. I'm assuming these are for the USB ports on the front. And this is for like the front I/O, microphone, speaker, and whatnot. I am going to forget about those for now. But I will plug in the speaker simply because I have it. I'll worry about that later. Now I have to do some surgery on my old PC to retrieve the parts I'm going to reuse. So welcome back to my TED Talk about how to do cable management that will drive people insane. As you can see here, I have my RX 480 graphics card. We're just going to reuse that. It's good enough for what I do. My 4TB mass storage hard drive from my old computer as well. I moved the Blu-ray drive down to the bottom so that I could run the same SATA power cable from here into here. That saves me getting yet another chunk of spaghetti inside of here. Down here at the bottom, you can see all these connectors still not connected. I'm not worried about those for the moment. I think we're good enough to close this thing up and start installing Windows. So, let's try it out. I'll try to select the correct drive and not overwrite all my data that I only backed up onto that drive. Go! Cut! Now we need to install Windows 98 and it will tell you how it's the best Windows ever. I wonder why they don't do that anymore. Alright, so I'm going to let Windows install here and then throw the side panels back on and then we should be all set. Have fun building a PC. Figure you guys might enjoy watching, so if you did, leave a like or whatever. Check out my other videos. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.